Well, good afternoon, morning, whatever. This is Chapter 7, Functions and Randomness. You've been using functions without knowing it. When y'all did the parts flow value, changing it from a string to a number, into a variable. In this case, the variable was named num. You actually were using a function. This is a built-in function in JavaScript. And this is what you passed to that function. In particular, you were passing that value there, whatever it was, so that it would come back as a number. So they go on and explain in the PowerPoint again using the parse flow and doing it, and that was very nice. Main thing they wanted to show you was you were using a predefined or a built-in function. All languages have these, by the way. When you get to C, C++, you will see that they have them also. So here they're showing you some of the math functions that are available in JavaScript. And of course, you know, the square root of a number. You can also have one to do squares. You can do them to do cubes. Looking for the maximum number within a series of numbers. Looking for the power of a number, and it was taking it to a power. So 2 to the 10th is 1024, and so it will do this for you without you having to do, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 512, 1024, without you having to do that. So then they also list many others. Some you may never need to use except for in this course. Others, if you go into statistics, data science, you'll become quite familiar with looking for the ceiling here or the floor for a number. Now here's a good example that you should type in and get to work. One of the reasons I suggest that is because people make all kinds of mistakes right in here. You can see all the stuff that has to be put in and put in correctly. Now it's interesting that on the click, when you click this button right here, after you have entered a number here, and here's your text box now. You saw how you built it. They're already giving you a predefined number that will show up. If you wanted to do your own number, well, you know delete that number and put in a couple of double quotes. Can't do double quote with my little mouse thing. Can't draw straight lines either. But anyway, the first thing you do is you're using the built-in parse float to take the value of 3.14159, which is pi, and converting it to a number right here. Then you're using the built-in math round function where you take the number, multiply it by 10, and divide it by 10, which will produce you a new variable called round. Then it's going to take that information and print it out for you using here. Then you're concatenating a literal right here. And then it's printing out the new round. So here is your original number. Here is the rounded number right there. Of course, when I was in grad school, you had to take it out to minimum 14159. Minimum was the length you had to take it out, so there was no rounding for us, unless we told it to round it to a higher number. Anyway, so now you can see how you've done that. Remember, here you've used a paragraph. Here you've used the input right here. Look at here, you put in here with this. Remember, this is your horizontal line or horizontal rule, and you put that in. Here is the beginning and ending of what you was doing with the input. We'll put it down to there. All inside the body of the app. Here's your header, and then of course there's your beginning HTML and ending HTML. Again, I build templates that have a bunch of this already in it for me, so I easily start without all that. So that's how you do a round function using the built-in function. So you can also do a math random, and what it is, now you're trying to come up with a random number. My wife does an art retreat twice a year in Asheville, North Carolina, and she wrote a rounding program that they take the numbers under everybody's chair as a number, and so when they get ready to do the door prizes for everybody coming, she simply hits a button. It comes up with a number within the range of 1 to 30, and once that comes up, she just says number 22, and whoever's sitting in number 22 gets that door prize. It's been a wonderful thing to do, and everybody loves it, all being little artists, and someone's using a computer to do something geeky. So you can place a random number within an expression to make it generate a random number. So here in this guy, you're starting off, and what you want to do is you tell it the numbers you want, then you generate a lucky number, and then it will print out a literal with the lucky number it created. And again, we can see that by looking at our program. Here's the literal here. Here is your question. Again, notice you can have two of them, and you do. You have one input box called min box and another one called max box. They made them a size 3, and they already place a value of 9 and 0 in here for you. You can again create your own by simply making the change that I showed you previously. Then when you click, and of course it's a long generate lucky number button, and it goes and grabs the min box, it grabs the max box, puts them into a number variable, min and max. Then we go, and it now we're looking for a number using the floor, which generates a random number times the max minus the min plus 1 plus the min Like I said, a lot of geeky math in there, which is fun for y'all who are math majors. Then we come back, we run through here, and then it prints out the number, which is what this guy is right here, and which appears right there. So be sure to type that one in, analyze it, look at it. I would suggest you go in and play with it and see if you can't make your own min-max numbers by changing out the variables here, the values, I'm sorry, and make it blank. And then you would have to add an input to it also. Here they're going into a lot of details about what you've done. Remember to watch your typing. Now, the beauty of having built-in functions and of the user-defined functions that y'all will be building in a few minutes is that it saves a lot of typing. You can now really simplify what's going on by letting the computer do something like getting the square root of a number instead of you having to get it. Or like with a square, what's the square of a number? It's the number times the number. Yeah, you can do that yourself, but you'd have to have z equals x times y. X and y will both be the same value, let's say 2, and so z has a value of 4. But what if I needed you to do that 1,000 times? Now it gets to be tedious. What if I wanted a cube? Of course, that would be x times y times z equals, let's say, c for cube. So saves you lots of time. A function, when you start building your user-defined functions, you'll have the same thing, and that's what we're getting into here. Now, from here on out, I want your programs to have functions in them. Started with Chapter 7, functions. Everything should be thought of is how can I make a function out of this? Now notice a function has the keyword. Remember those words that you can't use as a variable. Function's one of them, because function tells it I'm going to make a function. You have a name for that function. Function name right here. Then, something tell me what it's going to be doing, okay? Then you have the statement to be executed here. So it follows by the name, and notice right here, very importantly, that's what you're passing to the function inside there. Inside there is what you're going to pass. And you can pass one or more variables to the function. So now let's revisit the lucky number 1. And notice they rewrote it. So what I want you to do is I want you to write it as a non-function. Now I want you to write it as a function. And so that's what they've done here. And look up here at the top. They've now started and add all this stuff here to make sure you know it's there. There's the function name, generate number. Here's what you've already done. But notice it's now enclosed between these two little squiggles. So that's the body of the function for you. Now down here is where it's going to show the numbers are selected between, and again, this is all pre-typed for you. Now on click, it's going to call generate numbers. And what is going to happen when it does is that, remember, you have your IDs here and here, min and max box. They're right here. Now, this particular one, you're not having to pass anything. It's just going to grab them for what is called global variables. Global variables are available to the entire program. A little bit later, we'll get into function variables that are not. They're only alive within the function. In other languages, like C, C++, you will see this a lot. But we're using global variables here. So it does everything it's supposed to do, and it will then write for you, and your lucky number is an imprint number. Now, the output that you see will be the same as when you did non-functions. So you shouldn't see a difference in the output at all or in the screen. It's what's going on behind the scenes, and this makes life much easier. The beauty of a function is you can do numerous functions, call them when you need them. You can also cut and paste functions from program to programs a lot easier. So here we're going to start playing with a die. Notice they said die, not dice. One is a die. So when you click the button here, it's going to automatically generate a number for you. And they're going to call it row, and they're going to look for the floor, and they're going to pick a random number times 6. Why? There's only 6 sides to a die. Kind of cool, huh? Anyway, here's where you can go and get what you need. Again, it'll be die 1, die 2, die 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's the code. I want you to type this code in, of course. I know you get tired of hearing me tell you that, but gotta type this stuff in. Notice here's your function call, and here's the name of the function. And it falls between those two squigglies. You're going to first thing you do is show an image from it. We're picking die 1, so now it shows up as die 1. Your input is click to roll, so on click it's going to select, call the function select image, and then down here it's going to go pick the image it wants, and then the image it's going to be using, and because you don't know whether it's going to be die 1 or die 6, in between that it's going to pick. So now you can't tell it die 2. That would be cheating, be loading the die. So anyway, you can generate all kinds of things with this. They talk about it. You have an own load attribute that can have things happen when the program is being loaded. Very important. That's why a lot of times on web pages you'll see something comes up and automatically it's geared towards you or for you or marketing to you. It's because on the load they've already know something about you. Same thing for banner ads, can be generated this way. Again, using the body on low, changes the ad images in about half a second. That's how fast things are moving now. Now here's a a banner ad that we're playing with, please type this one in also. Um, I'm gonna let y'all play with this. Here's your select ad is the name of it, and y'all go out and play with this one. This is again another fun one to play with. I think you will enjoy it a lot. Uh, Again, watch your typing.